Hey there, you, me, and DC fans, and welcome if you are new. I am the Stepson of Krypton,
Mantis.
and today we are coming to you with. Do you have your Justice League Unlimited 12 right next to you? I don't have mine.
I too.
Okay, I don't have mine. Justice League Unlimited number 12, another DCKO tie in. Now, this one is kind of running concurrent with what happened in the DCKO event number one, as well as what's going on in Titans 28, as well as what's happening in Superman 31. And all of them kind of are tying in together. We're just seeing different points of view to up to that point so far of where DCKO number one was. So, Mantis, are you ready to get on into it?
I am ready.
All right, guys, I don't want to waste any more time with the intro. Let's just go ahead and get on into the issue. All right, guys. So this issue opens up kind of abruptly. We're right into it. We see we're in Rome. We've got Jessica Cruz, one of the Green Lanterns, and then they're kind of trying to help with the evacuation. People are going crazy. We go on over to Mozambique. We see fire. We see ice. Go to Gotham. We see Adam. We see Batgirl. Everybody's trying to help. If you remember, at this time, the other heroes are going. The main group of our super strong heroes are going to the heart of Apocalypse to participate in the contest in the arena, and everybody else, all the leftover heroes, including the Titans, as if you've already watched our Titans 28 video, you'll be seeing it pop up here, are just trying to help with the evacuation. So, as they're discussing what is happening and how like people are panicked, they're watching the world morph around them into what Darkseid wants. And now at this point in time, we kind of find out that we're 62% on having the total evacuation of Earth. I think in Titans, the last they had said in the Titans 28 tie-in, we were at like 34%. So we've almost doubled. This is kind of like
Mhm,
feeling like trying to update to Windows 11 here, how long it took, right? It's about the same.
mhm.
Um, Probably get
Yeah.
done quicker.
Well, and also, I mean, like you were mentioning with Titans 28, also, I know you're gonna release a Superman 31, a Flash 26 issues that also coincide with the DCKO with this evacuation. A lot of this, like you said, it's happening at the same time in Superman 31. You guys need to check it out. We get to see even that some of the villains, or well, part of the villains, I guess, are helping with the evacuation. We'll call it what is it? It's called. It was Super Corp. It's, I guess, LexCorp now is back now, but some of even those corporations are pitching in to try and help get all these people, because like even with, I think it was the last issue we talked about it maybe a little bit, with using Brainiac's technology to shrink these cities and some of these things to make more room on the ships that they're trying to get out, right? And it's just a wild concept to try and evacuate Earth. Like, there has to be mass panic. We talked about that too, about people just freaking out and giving opportunities for um, you know, even other bad guys to wreak havoc, get money, steal things. Which I think we find out next exactly is what's happening.
You are some kind of sorcerer, Mantis.
Wow, you are some kind of sorcerer.
Because that is exactly what happens as they're trying to evacuate everybody. Adam and Batgirl, they get the alarms going off, right? And now normally it's a robbery alarm, they would probably let it go, but there's the potential for a hostage situation, so they must investigate. And when they arrive at the bank, we do get to see a familiar face from the Suicide Squad movie. Right, we got good old Polka Dot Man, and he's robbing someplace, knowing like the money, like it's not going to be worth anything here soon. They'll probably be using caps for all my Fallout fans out there, or some other form of currency. They're like, I don't know why. And kind of like once they realized that there was nobody in danger, they should have just said, you know what, take what you want. Who cares? But they go to stop him. Adam, he increases his mass to, this is a 300-pound man, but like he's already 200 and something. So, I mean, you didn't really put that much extra.
Eh,
I,
yeah.
maybe 3,000 something. No, but he kind of like hits Polka Dot Man, gives him a good like smack on the face there, and then all of a sudden they immediately regret that decision because we see the big old boom, massive explosion, and we see Batgirl, we see Adam, they are not immune to it. They take the full force of it, which as soon as we flash over to the watchtower,
Mm.
we see them in the med bay and they say they're using the purple healing ray. That's that one line of dialogue. Uh
What the fuck is that? Sorry, that is. I'm just like, come on. Like you couldn't make up something cooler than that. Like tie in something. If no, just purple healing. Get out of here with that shit. Sorry, that annoyed me.
Well, it's kind of like with all these heroes you see, like I know a lot of them have healing factors, right, and regenerative factors, but nobody has a healing power to heal somebody. Like, but we nope, we get the dollar store version. We get the purple healing ray, and that's the literally they call it just the purple healing ray. That's what I absolutely love. We don't need backstory. We just have healing ray to keep the heroes out of critical condition. Now, I do like that they at least say that, right? That it's not like it's going to heal them and bring them back. It's going to keep them out of critical condition, right? And then, of course, the leftover leaguers, they're realizing that something seems to be supercharging the villains, right? And they weren't able to seal off the Phantom Zone, which kind of explains why when if you remember from the DCKO one as well as Titans, they were trying to lock all of the villains in the Phantom Zone. And I'm sorry, am I boring you?
It's just this type of this is lazy writing because I we talked about this in that issue. I was like, how the fuck did they get out? And the reason is they weren't able to seal it off. Really? That's it?
Neuron. But we kind of find out that whatever's causing the amp up in the villains is the also leads to part of the reason why they weren't able to seal off the Phantom Zone, and some of the villains were able to make it into the tournament. So and it makes no sense for these lame villains like we see Matter Master and all of them up there to be looting with nothing to spend it on, right? And that's kind of what the question's talking about. We see him talking to Mr. Terrific. It's kind of like are they being used as a distraction? And
Mhm.
it, kind of brings up, and they mentioned what happened with Neron a few years ago. He's offering the villains an amp up in exchange for their souls. Now, for those of you who don't know who Neron is, there's brief periods in the DC comics where Neron was basically the ruler of hell, and he offered amp ups to villains and their powers for again in exchange for their souls. There, yeah, I know in DC a lot of times they focus on Lucifer being the ruler of hell, but it has changed hands over the course of the entirety of DC comics. So, but maybe we have some help. We see another panel like we did before in the DCKO event when they listed the 32 heroes, except we see Aquaman, Power Girl, we see a different Guy Gardner, we see Superman Blue, which the Superman Red and Blue annual is getting ready to come out here within the next week. We see Hawkman, we see Batman Beyond, we see the Alan Scott Green Lantern, we see Doctor Fate, Sophie, Doctor Fate from
Mm.
the 31st century, and then we see Owl Girl, who was from the 853rd century, right? So we've got these other, at least these 9 displaced heroes, and Mr. Terrific informs them that the timelines are disappearing, right? And with them being displaced, the main heroes are in the arena. The world and the universe needs their help, and it may be the only way for them to get back to their time. And of course, he's explaining to the heroes that they have been extracted from a single moment in their timelines, right? So it's not like they were removed from their timelines altogether, and then now those timelines have to go on without them and creates all that kind of chaos. They were literally from one singular moment in their timeline. So even if they were to die, it will not disrupt their timeline at all because that's just them from one moment. The other them from all their other moments will continue to go on. But as they are basically the copies of themselves, once everything is resolved, they will cease to exist anyways. But maybe they can still help save, millions, if not billions of people.
That's just something wild to like imagine. Like I know we're talking about comic books here, so none of this is real, but it's also like imagine if that was you and you're just told like, yeah, you're not a real person. You're kind of just a figment for my use. Basically, Mr. Terrific's like, yeah, you're my pawns. We're gonna do this, and you don't really exist. So you might as well buckle up and play ball.
Yeah, because
Like it's just a
nobody, it won't matter at all to your
yeah,
timeline.
yeah,
It's like, thanks, guy.
yeah.
Quite literally, because that's who we see next, right? So we see, a displaced fire and ice. They're there. They're battling. I'm like, it looks like they're trying to put out some fires, but I'm like, did fire create that? And ice is trying to put it out. We don't know. All of a sudden, we see a younger, earlier version of Guy Gardner before he decided to rock the Chili Bowl. He's got the flat
Mm.
top going on. And he's looking for a little action with ice, right? And I mean, he's not being exactly subtle about it. And again, for those who aren't familiar, the younger version of Guy Gardner, him and Ice, they did actually have a relationship before. So, and he even invites Fire, like, well, if you want to join in, we can
Come on.
room there. He's trying to work his mojo, right? He's wanting to get one last bot before he disappears, because again, he was just told
Understandable.
his life is meaningless, right? That he's living right now. It doesn't matter what's going to happen to him. However, it doesn't look like it. She kind of tells him that, yeah, she knows now he's the younger version, but in this current iteration of time, they aren't together anymore. So shut down.
Unfortunate. Of course, though, like a woman, she, as soon as he storms off because he's pissed off, she's like, "Oh, I still care about you. Hold me, fire." Like, oh God,
Now,
come on.
now smell her a little bit.
Yeah.
Now smell her a little.
And then we do a kind of a weird shift right over to Aquaman, right? And he's kind of walking through now. Again, remember this is a earlier, younger version of Aquaman here. So he's kind of like going through and he's looking at all of the different stuff of the Aquaman of the current time, and he kind of is getting to see like what he becomes, right? Obviously, ruler of Atlantis. We see he's got the trident there, but then all of a sudden, he's getting these flashes from his life. I'm like, but is it his life? More and more images kind of flashing through. We see this young child,
I don't understand. Who is this child?
and then all of a sudden we hear Arthur. We look, it's John. They're telling him he shouldn't really be there, and he's kind of explaining who the little girl is he's seeing. His daughter Andrina. Am I saying that right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Guys, you know how I'm. That's what it looks like. It's spelled like. Deal with it, guys. You know how we are about pronouncing names on this channel. And then we kind of do another flash over to a different part of the Watchtower there, where we see Doctor Fate, Owlgirl, and Hawkman, and Sophie. This iteration of Doctor Fate that we have from the 31st century. She's using a translation spell for Hawkman so he can understand as well as people can understand him, right? And of course, he just wants to go home. And Dr. Fate kind of explains that he's even or she's even attempted to, but with the time stream being so unstable, it's not like something you want to go ahead and go through here because time's literally eroding all timelines.
Becoming dark side. Yeah.
Yes, everything leads back to becoming dark side. That's kind of this whole thing here. So then oddly, we see Power Girl, and she's recording a message for Power Girl. She wants to record a message for her future self because she is the younger version of Power Girl, and wants to tell her that she doesn't always need to give in to her anger. She even says here, we run hot, which when you see the chesticles hanging out there, she definitely does run hot, right? Because it kind of
I
back
I'm
in
gonna be real.
Sue.
I don't even remember anything that was said on this page. All I remember is titties.
Booby. Peter. Do it.
That's the key takeaway here, right? Because we
Yeah.
know we mentioned the other Power Girl that's down in the arena right now. They kind of, I don't know if she had a
Mm.
breast reduction or whatever, but they kind of shrunk them down here. So we got regular Power Girl back up, but she's trying to tell her, you can still have a life of meaning and purpose while maintaining, being calm and not always running so hot headed. Again, kind of pointless. And then we get this critical, urgent communication from that little shit airwave. Never liked him since the beginning of this damn series here. Still aboard the Wave Rider, but from what we can see of the message, that they are under attack from Darkseid's forces and they need help. And if you remember, real quick from Titans 28, Starfire at the end of it, the very last page, she's out there trying to help with the evacuation and getting people where they need to go. And boom, we see Granny Goodness and we see all of them. So apparently Darkseid's forces are now coming to everybody. But now it is time for our 9 heroes to go off on their mission, right? Stepping through the boom tube, going where no boom tube has gone before. And that's literally hell, right?
Oh yeah.
They're down in hell. they are trying to find Neron, and they're presumably wanting to stop him from what he's doing and amping up these supervillains because they need to be able to have the freedom to evacuate Earth. And that wraps up Justice League Unlimited issue number 12. Not a lot happening in this issue. The break off and the mention of Neuron is kind of a weird, interesting twist. But the
Mhm.
rest of it is just kind of about, oh, we're evacuating. Here's what's going on, and we're just seeing it from different points of view.
And we've seen this through all of these other tie-ins. I mean, to the KO. I know, like we've had a main Justice League series going on the channel, but throughout all of these DCKO tie-ins, these have all been, like you said, evacuation stuff going on in the background. This issue, um, it was kind of again meh. I could have done with a little bit more action. However, this last page, them going to hell, is awesome.
Welcome to hell, bitch.
I was talking to Cal before we started the video. I'm a sucker for like religious stuff in comics. I think it's cool as shit, especially because one of my favorite characters in DC is Constantine, which I hope he shows up because this is right in his fucking wheelhouse, and he needs to help come in and help these guys and deal with all of this nonsense.
And of course, we know we have seen him in, like, when we had the Crisis on Infinite Earth in the Arrowverse. We saw him come in to kind of help out. We even got to see Lucifer come into it a little bit to kind of play his part into it. So it'd be interesting to see if we will even see a Lucifer, if we will get to see a Constantine, who's going to help out save reality, because it is literally all of reality eroding away, becoming dark side. So
Even hell.
yes, even hell is not, you know, spared from Darkseid and his, I guess at this point, just being, right? Because he's just,
Ding, yeah.
everything is just converting over into him. So,
Yep.
all right, guys, let us know down in the comments. How are you feeling? I know from reading a lot of other comments on other comic book reviews, as well as just overall comic book channels, comic book pages on the internet. A lot of people are struggling with the Justice League Unlimited series because it's kind of chaotic. It's all over the place. There's too many storylines kind of going on for a lot of people. Let us know, how are you feeling about it. I know this was kind of a more of a kind of an issue because we're just getting that other perspective, but be interested to hear what you guys think about that. And if you have made it with us this far, might as well go ahead and give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, having the bell notifications clicked, because, like, I know we do Justice League Unlimited. We've done it since the beginning of the series here and the all in DC special, but we are going to be covering all of the DC KO event, all of the tie-ins, which includes, like I said, Titans 28, which is already out, Superman 31, Mantis has got Flash 26,
Yep.
and we'll be covering, obviously, we'll get the night fight coming out in November. We will have all of that
Mhm.
coverage. If you have the bell notifications clicked, you will get alerted when those drop. Mantis, do you have anything else before we wrap up?
No, you covered it all.
All right, guys, that is going to wrap it for us on this episode of You, Me, and DC. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Later.